Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining us on a very special Facebook Live today. We are joined in our Beadaholique studio by Leslie Rogalski, and she is here from the Beadsmith. So we are so happy to have her here. She has been doing some great videos for us today, and she is here right now to just showcase all these beautiful projects and just really expand your inspiration on what you can do with a lot of these beads.
Yes. That's the most fun part of my job, I have to say, as their creative director, is just to, pump everybody up and to share the work of our inspiration squad today and show you guys some of the things that can be made with all the different beads. I know with the new bead shapes just coming at us minute by minute,
rapidly.
People are like, wait, I haven't finished playing with this one yet. So I just wanted to show some of the things that are really hot, and also just give some shout outs to some of the members of our inspiration squad who are from all over the world. We have 30 designers from all over the world.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry I can't represent everybody, but these are the pieces that we brought. So one of the things, I guess I can start.
We are just wowed by everything here. So I want to actually start with these cute little beaded beads.
Yes, these are so adorable, and what's great is they're really lightweight.
Very
light. You can stack a bunch of them on a single piece of jewelry. It seems like you can.
Well,
string
they're
them.
hollow. They're self-supporting beaded beads. I designed these actually, and they feature the nibbits.
Okay, so let's look at this up close.
And I like the nibbits. They're kind of cool. They almost look like little candy corns.
Yeah, they do. They do. Or little corn.
Yeah, corn kernels.
Right. And I've worked them up into these self-supporting beads using SuperDuos, size 11 seed beads, and size 8 seed beads. And you can see that I just went to town.
Oh, I love the colors, like
and
these guys.
all the colors,
so
and
beautiful.
the colors are matching a lot of the other Czech beads that are out there. Just the finishes and the surfaces. So you have metallics and you have opaques and you have AB finishes. Look, you even have duets, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Can you see how they're striped like
that's
that?
Very cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. And with the design you did here, that has such a nice entry point and exit point for stringing.
Mm-hmm.
I worked as these were developed, you realize that you need to have sort of a small opening to help control how it's strung. So that's how that evolved. Look, there's the Tweedy nibbits, the pearly, the metallust, which is that like anodized aluminum looking stuff.
Yeah.
And you can just play with so many millions and millions of color combinations with that. And I strung them on a necklace, which is down at the end of the table. So you can see that there's a lot of ways. It's a beaded bead. You can make you can make two and have earrings. You can make one and have a pendant, or you can string them however you want and have a ball.
And then are these here the Czech glass donut beads?
They are.
I love those. We got those like a month ago, maybe 2 months ago.
And I love the silver ones. They're so festy.
They're so metallic-y.
Yummy.
They are. That's the Labrador finish. And the fact that they're donuts and not rounds adds yet another element of design and texture to it, almost like a stripy thing. So, plus it helps to keep the beads sort of under control. At the end of it, right?
Tames it
like a little cap, like an end cap.
Yes.
Right.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Well, we have been so blown away, and I think if it's okay, I'd just like to start showing people some of these amazing pieces, and then you can tell us a little bit more about them. So this is like my favorite color scheme in all the world.
It's gorgeous.
I love this with the gold accents, these wonderful gold findings, and that's a tiara cast.
That's
I believe.
right.
Yeah.
That's right.
So this has a wonderful ombre effect, and you could maybe tell us who did this and a little bit more about it.
This is by designer Susan Sassoon. Her alter ego is So Sassy. So if you want to look her up, right? She's a New Jersey, New York lady or gal or whatever, and she has done this amazing thing pairing the duets with the matching solid color SuperDuos in a way by creating this ombre effect on the rope.
That's so smart.
Which just is so effective. So that's another way to bring some visual interest into it, and she has just worked this to the max. So you can see even in her pendant here, she's using the duets with the solid colors. She's got size 11 seed beads and honeycombs. And
That's a great use of the honeycombs there.
It is. It really built up this dimension. So you just have this fabulous piece that Susan Sassoon has done for us, and finished to the nth degree, like you said, with these gorgeous TC
Beautiful
findings. And
I just love that she just makes it look so seamless. Like you wouldn't even know unless you looked up close.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know.
But it does have that gradation effect. Is one of the things that the duets let you do, which is just awesome.
And you have that nice little gold spiral just cascading down.
Right.
Very
So
nice,
I think
very
this
gorgeous.
was tubular peyote that she did here.
Very nice.
Sorry, I forgot Susan. But we love it.
I do want to mention we're going to try to provide links to as many of these bead artists
Yes.
that you mention on here so that you guys can look them up and see some of their amazing work, because this is just incredible. And I feel so fortunate that we actually get to have this in the studio and look at it. And I know it's so
And we're fortunate to have these
amazing.
people doing, these women and men doing work for us. And if you go to the Beadsmith website, there are biographies of everybody
nice.
too. So those of you who I wasn't able to represent here are going to be represented, and you should definitely check them out because they're just a fabulously talented and wonderful to work with bunch of designers.
Well, I think we love beaders.
Yeah.
We just love beaders.
We
They're
love
such
beaders.
a good group of folks.
Right.
And
Well,
thank
this is
you guys
nice.
for being part of that community, the people who are watching this. You know?
It's so cool. We send them beads, they send us these amazing things.
It's
So
incredible.
It's a good deal. And we have some more duets if we want to talk about the duets here in this piece. You can see how, this is one of mine, and I've used the duets to make kind of a modified herringbone chain. And if you think about it, if you're familiar with what a SuperDuo is, you can know right away that if I used solid color SuperDuos here, it would still look really cool, but it would have a different look. And by using the two colors and stringing them directionally, it gives it that little extra visual detail.
Yeah, it creates an effect with the beads.
That's exactly it. They're very effective.
They are very
They're
effective.
very effective.
And tell us a little bit about the focal down there at the bottom.
I created this woven on one of our Eternity frames, so it's a little channeled circle that has holes pierced all the way around it. And with a little R&D, I figured out how many beads and what size they could fit in there. And you can see again that there's duets with the solid colors.
And we'll provide links to our duets. We do have duets here at Beadaholique, and if you'd like to see more of them, let us know. You know, this is really a great opportunity. We're seeing all these amazing inspiration pieces, and let us know things you'd like to see more of too, carried at Beadaholique.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
And we do have the Eternity frames as well. And we have
That's
brass
great.
and silver, I think,
Yeah.
actually.
Oh,
believe we
that's
do.
great.
Yeah.
They're really fun. And they just, you know, when you bring metal into something, it really enriches it to a certain
does.
look. So.
Yeah.
So what should I tell you about next? We have so many cool
I was going to say.
Okay.
So as we both point to this, tell us what this is right here.
So these are components joined together, made with our GemDuos. And you can see that they're, you know, little diamond-shaped beads with an interesting top, and they fit together really nicely, not only with each other, but with the SuperDuos. This piece uses, I think it's chalk lava red GemDuos with black and white duets and solid colored duets. And there's little 15s spaced in there, the little glints of silver that you see. I like to call them bridge beads because sometimes, depending on how big or small a component is, you want to use, they're not going to sit right together depending on how many you have around. You have to play with that. So a bridge bead is something that'll fill that little gap and add another little detail.
And, you know, I've never heard them called bridge beads before because I'm seed beads, you know.
Yeah.
But what's really great is you can actually just, by adding one, sometimes you need a little step up with your needle. So you can kind of add just that little extra. And in a 15-0, it's barely there.
That's true. Actually, that worked over here, too. That in order to do a turnaround for the herringbone stitch without it showing between beads, I did almost like a picot with one bead.
So smart.
Sewed back and forth and back and forth. So 15s, which I swore I would never ever use because they were so small. I was like, 11's my smallest. Well,
There's a
I
use
take
for
that.
'em.
Yeah, I'm walking that back. Okay.
You're like, all right. So these components were actually used to create these pieces here.
That's correct.
Or that's an example of
These
use for
are
those.
right. And one of the cool things about these bracelets is that it really shows how the color families are being created by the manufacturers we're directing them to make sure there's this family of colors. So when you have solid color SuperDuos, solid color GemDuos, and then you have the Duets, these happen to be polychrome, so it's got that great like suede kind of finish.
We like that color.
Yeah, we all do.
We use it a lot.
Right. So that you can really mix and match, and when you buy beads to make a project or to play around yourself, you should always sort of have that in mind.
Right.
You know, keep your colors together that are going to go together. They don't have to be matchy-matchy. These are matchy-matchy, but I like them like that because it shows off the weight.
Right.
So,
absolutely.
Yep. But that's that.
And just so you guys know, Leslie just did this in a video for us. So
did.
you will
You're
see a
curious.
how-to video coming soon on that one.
So you can learn how to make the component and connect two components, and then you're off and running, and you can figure out how to do a little loop to add, to make a pendant, to string together. You'll get the hang of it when you see the video and how I talk you through it. So that was really fun to do. It's really fun.
Yeah, we've had a fun day.
So it's
We
been
have.
amazing. It's been amazing. Thank you, all my bosses, for sending me. Well, and it's, you know, what a job. I get to like try to convince people how much fun this is and look at all the beads, and I know there's ones that aren't even here and there's ones coming at us down the road, so we can talk about all of these things. Can we talk about these? We're going to jump around a little bit.
Yeah.
These absolutely gorgeous peyote stitch cuffs are by our designer Carol Dean Sharp. She's really known for her peyote work, and it's picking up 1, 2, 3 beads at a time. And these are her original patterns. Sand Fiber is the name of her alter ego, so you can look her up. And she has used our bead slide clasps on these.
Yeah, I love these. And this one here is actually a 2-drop peyote. So you can even, so you don't have to use a loom or
There's no
peyote,
loom work.
so
This is all
this
off
is all
loom.
peyote, yes. You can
Right.
really see how it's attached there on the end, and that's so genius.
It's
The
so
end
smart.
of it are little tubes with little like trapdoors on the side. So you're going to build up an end, you're going to finish your end, and then you're going to attach another row of beads just to the outies, as I call them. So you have a straight row across, and you just slide that
slide
into
it right
the tube.
in.
And show them what it looks like when it's closed.
Oh, yeah.
One of the cool things about a bead slide is it doesn't leave a gap between your clasp and the beadwork, which just really is so classy.
You know, and it looks expensive.
Yes, it does.
It's so nice, like, you know,
Yeah. And there's lots of different finishes. The basket weave shown
Well, and
really
even-
matches kind of her texture and everything.
Yeah, and
but
even on the basket weave here, so you can have a bright silver, or for this pattern, I love
got
that she
an
used that sort of
oxidized.
antiqued, yeah.
Yep.
So lots of
there's
choices.
different
yeah.
widths. There's 3 different widths, and there's at least 2 or 3. I think there's 3 service designs. And there's smooth finishes. There's a black one that I really like. So
Well, that can be nice and just seamless, you know.
that's
I like
exactly what it does. It makes it seamless.
Yeah, and I like how shallow they are. They're not, you know, really
It's not
high.
bulky.
So, because I'm like, am I gonna snag that on a sweater or a shirt or something?
Right.
Because I do every time. I'll like go like this, and there's threads coming out of my sweater.
Yes, I think we've all been there.
Yes.
So that's a really clean finish to the bead slides.
Love that.
With Delica beads in this, but of course you can fit up to a size 8 bead through the bead slide tube.
That's good to know.
Yeah. So you want to keep that in mind, and you know, just make sure that the width of your piece is going to be okay with it. But you can see Carol's made her pieces wider than the clasp, and she just brought it in so the attachment.
Yeah,
so
you can see
you can
that
figure
it's
that out
a little bit
and-
wider there.
Right.
A couple,
so you can
2
angle
rows,
the
it looks
sides of pieces. You can fit it over netting. You can fit it over a lot of techniques besides loom and peyote.
That's
you just have to
nice.
remember that the edge of the beads has to form a straight line across for the tube. You can't have something that's staggered, because when you slide the tube over, it's going to hit the end of a bead. That's why with peyote we add that little extra row just on the out beads, so you have something straight. But they're really gorgeous.
And then one thing I do, if you can hand me this as a little tip, because I love these. I've been doing them a lot with loom, and I'm excited to do them with the
Oh my
peyote.
God, they're perfect for
But
the loom.
I take my clasp when it arrives, and I line it up to an existing piece of jewelry I've already made that's wider than it, and then I count how many rows across
That's so
to fit.
smart.
And that's
so
worked
smart.
really well for me if you're trying to figure it out. So I get the clasp first, I have my
Yeah.
beads, but before I make my pattern, I just line it up, and then I count the rows.
And I'll tell you another little tip that I know. If The piece you want to make is just slightly smaller than the tube, so it doesn't slide back and forth, inside like this. You can sew on that last row that's going to be hidden in there. Just sew another little 15 or 11 on either end, and it kind of acts like bookends to your piece, so it stabilizes it.
Kind of fills in any tiny little gap. And, and there you go. There's another use for the 15 when you just need a little gap filler.
That's right. That's right. And these are pretty easy to get on and off yourself, too.
Very easy.
Nice. And they're lightweight. So let's see. What else do we have? Well, having a pattern lasered onto some of the seed beads is something new that we're exploring, and they're really, really fun. And here again, you're bringing like another texture into your piece. Yeah. Even though the piece itself is flat, it still gives you this extra detail. It's just all about the details and the rhythm of it and the music of it. So this is the laser honeycombs in a beautiful jet AB and kite beads.
Nice.
And seed beads.
And I love that the laser is actually on both sides of those beads. So
yes,
it's not just a top or bottom kind of thing, which is lovely.
In this case, no, that's correct. It is. And they come in all different colors and shiny, not shiny, and different patterns. So you can really find stuff that you're going to like. That's one of mine.
Maybe this is a good time to actually show it against something else that features that.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is a very similar.
So we have the daggers.
The daggers here, yes.
Right.
So
this is a piece by Betty Stefan, another one of our valued designers, and she's using the GemDuos and the kite beads and the laser daggers in this absolutely just like drool-worthy color.
It is regal.
It's regal.
The beaded toggle here. That's so nice.
She's finished it really well.
Really beautiful.
She's really finished it well. And she's got some little O beads and some, I guess, size 8s. Just, a few beads, beautiful colors. And again, the daggers by themselves would still have made it like a really cool necklace.
Right.
But I love the fact that it has this target pattern on it, and it just draws your eye in right away.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah. It is.
I think I'm loving the combination of so many different shaped beads in one project.
Yeah.
I think that's really fun.
This is another thing that Susan Sassoon does really well. She did the ombre rope that we had seen before. So she did this necklace, this scallop necklace, using 3 different colors of SuperDuos to create an ombre in the scallop, and another kind of honeycomb we call honeycomb jewels, which are faceted on the top, like almost like vintage nail heads.
Yeah.
So here we are again bringing more texture into something that with a straight honeycomb would still look really cool, but this takes it to the next level. And it's just gorgeous, her with the seed beads. Very, very fun. And you can picture putting all different things on here. And I love this. I just love this. Another necklace by Susan will come up here. We have Picasso kite beads and little smaller size silky beads.
The mini silkies.
The mini silkies, right? So in this quilted collar, she's done that. And you can see here how the kite beads they're a beadsmith designed bead, and we really worked hard mathematically to get them to fit together. So you can see, and quilting is what comes to everybody's mind when you see these, right? Like little quilted pieces.
But what I love about them is they're so sharp.
Yes.
They really, they're not rounded at all, and so that you can really create these nice, like, diamond, jagged, just here, these lovely little sort of almost poinsettia.
It's very poinsettia. That's exactly right. Even in this bracelet here, which is by Aki Jankov, she's one of our designers in the Netherlands, and you can see the kite beads are used in. We think these look like poinsettias too, kind of.
Yeah.
Even if it's black and red. These also show another bead that we've duetted, which are the fire polish rounds. And you can see the little round beads are black on one side with a hole and white on the other side. So by facing the colors in different ways, she's enriched her bracelet that way.
Yeah. You create nice little cuts as your eye dances around the design.
Aki is a graphic jewelry designer. So she
I can
has
tell.
really, yes, she has really brought her stuff to the table this way. And, you know, matte black. That's a personal thing, but
Yeah, I always like black in some of my designs.
Black
I think
and this,
just 'cause
black
it
and that.
kinda just adds a little like depth. So.
Right. Yeah. It does. Yeah. Well, playing matte off of shiny is really fun. And when you're just getting started as a beader, if you already have a pattern that you're familiar with, you can just switch these things out in your pattern and make it look totally different. Even with, if you know one technique and have one pattern, by playing with color and texture and finish, it completely changes it, right?
It really does. I know when we're coming up with color palettes, we're always like, we don't want necessarily all shiny in one palette. We want a matte, we want a shiny.
Combo.
Yeah, a combo, because it does balance. It'll look almost, your eye won't focus. I think sometimes if it's too, you know, all one texture, it helps to kind of break it up.
You kind of lose it, and you want something that's cohesive, but you want this to be interesting to do too. And that's like brings in the what if factor.
Yeah, like look at this.
What if this? What if that?
Here's a great example. This shiny black really pops against like the kind of the matte metallics.
Right, exactly, with the Arcos beads and the Tinos, and again the kites.
And this is your bracelet. This is
That is
beautiful.
another one of mine.
And we see you finish it with a magnetic clasp, which is a personal favorite of ours here.
Me
we
too.
love it.
I just did a Facebook Live on the, you know, why magnets attract me. So, well, you know, the pun door was wide open.
You have to go there.
But it does, because it makes it so easy to just flip it on. And a lot of beaders are at a point in their age where it just becomes a struggle to get things on and off.
True.
I mean, for most of us, we're always fiddling to try to get the clasp. So the magnets really work really well, and it's also just clean. It has a low profile.
I think that's what I like about it. Is it just finishes it.
Right. And there's some beautiful magnetic clasps out there too.
There really
they don't
are.
all have to be little tiny pancakes, as I call these. But yeah.
Yeah, and looking at this, I'm actually thinking of something I've never really thought of before. You can definitely extend the length of your bracelet by adding extra jump rings to that magnetic clasp.
That is absolutely true.
So that was kind of a fun idea. Maybe, I know I've made something before and it's not been long enough. You know, and I'm like, I love this. I don't want to redo it. I somehow just miscalculate. But that would be a really nice, simple way of just adding some extra length.
Yep.
Is add some extra jump rings to go to that magnetic clasp.
That's
you know,
exactly
and I
right.
always think about that, especially when you're talking about a bracelet like, let's say this, where I don't need a whole, what is that, maybe an inch or so to add. I just need just like a quarter of an inch.
That's right.
So it's perfect if there are like larger units like that where you don't want to create that whole extra one. So
sure,
that's great. Yeah.
Sure, you can also add a little piece of extender chain. Just find a
use
really
that a lot
pretty
as
little
well.
chain, right? So
We're always looking for the little tricks, you know.
Yeah.
And there are a lot of tricks, and it's our job to share the tricks with everybody, because we've been down that road before, and it's paid forward. In our universe, it's definitely paid forward. Somebody taught us, or we figured it out, so we pay it forward.
Want to share the good knowledge.
That's right. Speaking of sharing, I wanted to point this bracelet out, because this was a collaboration between Deb Moffat Hall and myself. Deb Moffat Hall is the inventor of the Endless Loom, and she put together the base cuff here with these gorgeous Labrador honeycombs, and I made the focal and the edging. So we worked together on something. She gave me the cuff, and I came up with something that, you know, to add that piece of focal. So we were talking about this well, let's have like a round robin, and we make one piece and send it to somebody else and see what they do it, and then send it to somebody else after that. Would be really fun.
I think that would be so fun. Get like 5 or 6 friends together, and then everyone ends up with a finished piece at the end, but it has the touches of everyone else.
Right.
I think this just would look so great on. I just want to put it on my wrist.
It's a statement.
It's
cuff.
beautiful.
It feels really good, doesn't it?
It does.
Like, really?
And it's actually kind of cool. Like it's
Because that's part of the experience is tactile here.
Oh, for sure. And this is just like shiny and smooth.
Reminds me of that like 1930s mesh.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It does kind of almost look very fabricy.
Yeah, very fabricy. Very fabricy. And then from the largish honeycombs, we're going to go to our little tiny True to fire polish. These absolutely gorgeous beaded beads are made by Shari Marashuk. She lives in the States. She's really known for her beaded beads. And these...
I can see why.
Yes.
Oh my God. They're just spectacular. She beads a round and inside bead, so they really hold their shape. And she will string different kinds of also unusual different beads between them. But one of the things I love, I mean, being a beaded bead lover, the sky's the limit with how you string the beads. So you can think about other beaded beads that you make if you want to be strung in there. You can use other artist work, polymer or glass or different things like that to bring in, to enhance the craftiness. And of course it's finished absolutely beautifully. And I want you to look at how she added 2 clasps and put another bead at the back. So if you're going to wear this to a soiree and you have an updo, the back of your neck is showing, there you go. The jewelry is 360 degrees.
I love that because sometimes we don't think about that when we're creating pieces. You know, you don't think about adding a little adornamentation to the clasp or whatnot.
Right.
So.
That's true. That's true. Not always.
Sometimes we're good.
Yeah, sometimes
it's like,
sometimes your brain has its limits, though, you know. These are more of the SuperDuo Duets, which are the 2-tone duets. And I brought these to show you that here's a piece of herringbone, a modified herringbone that just uses solid colors. And it's really cool. But here's the exact same stitch using duets, so it has an instant texture.
It's completely different.
It's completely different. Making things completely different, something that I do all the time is I pick my beadwork up. I don't know if you guys do this, and I start to like just play with it in my hands, like I'll have it. So I had picked up my pieces and I started to just like squash them together and see what else I could do with this little swatch. And I thought, oh wow, that looks so cool like this, like a rope. So that's how these came to be. And it has a natural twist because of the spiral direction that I stitched it, right? So we have opaque black and white duets with white and black seed beads alternating, and then we have the matte black and white.
And I
with
like the
red
little
true
color.
twos.
Yeah, because then you really do see that beautiful spiral
It
that
creates
kind
a
of
spiral
naturally
so,
happens there.
And no, I don't have a pattern written for this yet, but I promise you guys I will. I will. Everybody likes it. Yeah. And these mandalas, this is one of the ways that I play with my beads where I start to bring together colors and try this and try that. It gives me a component. So it's not putting in the effort to make a whole finished piece, but it shows you how the beads are going to go together. And everybody probably has their way of doing this, but you can't really tell when you spill stuff out how things are going to look when they're stitched side by side.
Oh, yeah. Well, and I want to kind of pick your brain here for a second.
Yeah, sure.
So these are the backlit GemDuos. So if you kind of flip it over, it has that silver on the back. So talk to us a little bit about the difference between a backlit and a solid. And that kind of thing.
So when something is, there you go. So a solid is a solid, and it's coated all the way around. The backlits, kind of save the best for last. The backlits are illuminated and look like they have that inner opal fire because they have almost like a foil backing.
Yeah, I guess it is kind of like a foil backing.
It is. So that backing enables the colors of the glass to really pop through. It's almost like having a mirror underneath it, so that the kind of iridescence of the colors of the glass, it's like they're lit up from underneath. So the GemDuos, you can see, bring a whole other level to your work.
It does glow.
It really does.
Extraordinary. Cool. Even if we're looking at a piece where there's a single GemDuo, here's another Betty Stefan piece, and she's worked them so that they're featured like truly these little treasures. They're set off in these windows of the delicates against these other colors that just complement the colors of the GemDuos and enhance it, and the GemDuos in turn enrich. And again, look, they're matte beads against the shiny GemDuos.
It really helps to set them off.
Yes, they are.
Because then you use these little lights coming in each little one.
That's right. And then she has the super Cheops, which are pyramidal shape, dimensional. So you can see that that's just amazing.
And then look at the back side of this even. I love that square. It's just so beautiful.
That's Betty. And of course, finished with a gorgeous, gorgeous clasp. Yeah. Toggle clasp. that complements the design of the piece.
Yeah, just again, it's just
So.
that nice seamless
Right.
finishing
And
touch.
I love the way she did the little picots on top of the
I know, they're
spacers,
so
the O
cute.
beads. So again, here's a piece that began flat like this, and she added these dimensional aspects, just little pieces of it, and along the side, it's almost medieval. Like it has
A
that
little bit,
studded
yeah.
kind of. I just think that's gorgeous, and the GemDuos and the backlit GemDuos are just available in a lot of different colors and finishes, metallic. This is Crystal Capri. So you can see there's crystal on the other side and a metallic on the top. This is all the GemDuo. I think it's petroleum with the Crystal Capri, and it's just GemDuos sewn around in kind of a circular peyote. And then this is the exact same technique, but I've added little size 11 seed beads. So by bringing the seed beads in, it gives it a lacier look. It's a little, you know, a little more texture, and
just opens it up a little bit.
It does open
in
it
a
up.
different
That's
way.
what I was searching for.
I got you. Yeah, it does.
Right.
It just opens up the whole design there.
It does. It does. But you
It's
can
lovely.
do dimensional things with the GemDuos too. This again is another instance of where I wanted to squash a piece, where I started with my circular motif with a few beads, and I added the 15s in there so that it would lay better.
Right.
There's a mathematical way to determine like how many beads in a circle before it starts to ruffle, and if it ruffles, add some seed beads. And I played with the matte finish of the metallic and then the GemDuos on the outside with a little crisscross of embellishment around the outside. And I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. I've been making them in different sizes.
I think Kat put those together. She's like, I'd like to see this as an earring. Just
You know, I can just picture like a whole rope, you know, of these. Ooh, the crowd likes it.
Like, ooh, all right, tell us more.
Right. So I don't want to miss anybody.
I want to talk about this guy here, the centerline cuff.
So the centerline cuff has a cutout inside, and it's pierced on either side of it. So it's screaming, bead on me. So playing around, you can bead on the inside of it and keep it in the little window. I took the GemDuos, and here again you have the backlit, played against the matte metallic with embellishment on top, and I attached it. I had the piece already made, and I just attached it. So you can see it's stitched clean on the inside. So the centerline cuffs are built in to do all kinds of stuff.
Yeah.
And they're really fun, and this happens to be rose gold. And they're in, I think there's a rhodium and a yellow gold, a bright gold, right. So I know Beadaholique and Beadsmith would love to see other designs that you guys have done with this center line.
Just a lovely,
So,
lovely
just
little neat.
really-
It creates a nice little frame for some beadwork. So if you do just kind of a little focal that is just along there, and then
And that's a good point. You know, you can do just a little piece of something. You don't have to have, it's a good way to use up your orphan beads if you want.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
that's great.
And you just have a little thing, and you can bring, here's the backlits again that I've sort of bezeled. And once again, using a metal component, a nicely crafted metal component, will enrich that piece of beadwork and give you a foundation to take it to a different level, if that's what you want.
Well, and I like what I like about this, if I can talk.
Yeah, sure.
is tripping over my words here. Sorry. Oh,
It's
beads. I would think this would make such a nice gift item for the holidays. It's a beautiful piece of handcrafted jewelry. It has a beautiful focal, but we all know that some of these pieces take longer. This you
That's
can make
right.
like 4 or 5 gifts. And
You absolutely could.
You know,
That's a great idea.
I think this would be such a lovely, I mean, imagine getting that in a gift box from a friend.
my
You
goodness,
know it's this
yeah.
beautiful piece of handmade jewelry. It's beaded, but because you have this nice base to it, it saved some time. It cut down on
It's
some
a
of the
small
effort.
piece of the labor-intensive part of it, and then you attach it. And we were talking about the holidays, and we were talking about party jewelry and New Year's Eve jewelry, and certainly anything with sparkle is going to bring something to your holiday attire.
I think that's why I like these little GemDuos too, because like I said, they just kind of glow, and they're just really,
They're like little stained glass windows.
yeah, well, especially looking at
yes.
these type of
Well,
designs here, yeah.
Right. Yeah, right. My
their own
first
little-
visit to New Orleans, I did this whole series of stained glass window colors, and how can you not? So these are almost like cathedral windows or something, and with these. And again, they're all pretty much the same technique, using different beads. You can see I have some seed beads in here to help to control the way the piece laid according to how many I put around. But we all know that SuperDuos fit together really well, and they make nice shapes, and the GemDuos fit together even more and make nice shapes. So you can just picture like if this was like a whole necklace.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where asymmetrical little ones and big ones. And there you go.
There you go.
Which is what I'm wearing
I was
in different
gonna say,
colors.
I was like, so because we always try to provide color variations when we do a project, because sometimes someone might look at something and go, oh, I don't wear red, you know, oh, but try it in green, like you know, and here's the green one.
Yes.
So you know, we're always thinking about that. So and sometimes it is difficult to visualize what it's going to look like in a different color. So we're just gonna do a little A/B here. So you're gonna see the green one and then see the red one here. But it's a completely different necklace, which I think is kind of amazing, you know, that you can really choose your color and make it your own.
That's right. And that's another reason why making components is really a cool, smart thing.
Yeah.
Because you can get an idea of what the colors look like together. So all you have to do is make a little, I mean, even just a little something.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I was like, I
Put them
just did little
together.
ones up here. I just love them.
I actually just want to put a Christmas tree hook on one of them and
there
hang
you
it as an
go.
ornament. Like,
I think we need a Beadaholique Christmas tree this year.
I think we do.
All right, I'll send something in on behalf of the Beadsmith.
Anything else that you wanted to
more
share with us
duets
today? Oh,
here.
yes.
Oh, right.
And these are matte neons. Another Betty Stefan piece. Very bold colors, but because she's using matte and she has a little bit of shine and sparkle in there, it just so works together.
It looks nice.
Purple, blue, and green, how can you go wrong? But she puts them together, and it's unusual and unique. And again, she has a beautiful beaded clasp to hers, as always.
And in the center here, these are rula beads. Is
They
that
are
correct?
rulas, that's correct.
Yeah, so the rulas are two whole cylindrical beads, and they make a perfect little center of a flower there. I love that.
They do, and it gives a dimension to it. And then she has some fire polished rounds in here to give it some sparkle.
Yeah, that's nice. You almost don't see them until you kind of go
Start to
ahead,
move
pick it
it.
up. Yeah, so you can really kind of just see. Oh, there they are. You know.
Right.
It was just so neat. But yeah, and then just looking at sort
Lacy,
of the side
but with
there,
a lot of substance
you can
to
see
it.
the dimension of those rula beads.
It's a very dramatic piece.
It
I think
is.
the color palette
Yeah,
really adds
it is.
this like wonderful drama to it.
Well, I was telling you guys that Betty is very fearless with color, and that's something I so admire because I tend to stick to my favorite colors, you know.
So do we.
I was like,
It would mostly be like black and.
I think it is fun though to challenge yourself. We'll do that sometimes with a bead. We'll be like, okay, this is out of our normal realm, but it's a personal challenge. I'm like, what can we do with it?
Make
and
it
then
work.
sometimes if I'm working with a color palette that I know is very Julie, I'll be like, Julie, what do you think?
Get opinions.
Does this work? You know, yeah, we share a lot of opinions in
We
our
do.
space
Right.
and help each other out sometimes because it's difficult to sort of step back from some of the designs and go, is this really working or is it just not working?
We
You
do
know?
that too.
Yeah.
For a while, I was like the first really bead designer to come into Beadsmith. But there's a number of people in the office who are really excellent designers too, and our web designer Maria has a really good eye, and they just hired me another Leslie, Leslie Pope, hi, sister. And now I really have somebody that speaks my language. Although with all due respect, my bosses all have very interesting and sophisticated opinions about things and make suggestions, and they'll come over and say, have you tried this or have you tried that? So while they don't have the needle and thread skills yet, they know a lot about this and they see all the colors.
That's
and,
nice.
Perry Bookstein, who also helps to actually help work with the glass people and develop the colors. We talk a lot about what's going to work together and what can we bring in that's new and what's exciting. So here we have some of the latest, most exciting things.
Well, we are definitely excited and very inspired by all of this work.
good.
It's gorgeous, and thank you so much for being here and taping a video for us and being here for this Facebook Live. And if you guys are watching this after the Facebook Live, be sure to leave your questions here on our comments, and because we want to know what you guys want to see, what excites you, what colors or patterns or anything. So yeah, let us know.
Anything.
We're here for you.
Right. Well, it is absolutely my delight and my privilege, and thank you for sending me. And I've known Beadaholique for a long time, but I never really met these guys, or Rachel, who's behind the scenes, or Chris, who's behind the camera, and it's just, like we said in the very beginning, it is so much fun for us to inspire everybody by what inspires us and beyond, and to hear what inspires you, and that's what it's all about. So it was worth traveling those 6 hours from Philadelphia to California to share this with you guys.
Well, thank you. We are so inspired, and all this amazing work by all these amazing, talented artists. Thank you for bringing them.
The Beadsmith Inspiration Squad, check them out. They're just phenomenally talented people. Yep.
All right, Leslie. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we will provide all kinds of links to all of our beads that we have here and all of the lovely designers whose work we have shown here today. So if you are inspired by them and want to check them out further, we will be providing that to you as well.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much,
Thank
Leslie.
you.
Thanks.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
Bye.